So today I'm going to be talking about some stuff out of this book, and in particular, a lot of the experiences that I've gone through personally. I started out doing and using meditation per se back when I was younger in martial arts, and then as I got older, uh, I started to really understand myself and really understand the arts. I started reading and studying the mind, studying the body, and just getting more knowledge as I went on. So today, I want to bring you guys the particular understanding of meditation. Yep. Yeah, so there's really this whole concept of energy, right? Energy exists everywhere outside of the body, and energy exists in the body. We all know this. Science tells us this, that there's some kind of bioenergy that exists. So, with this understanding, you know, the ancients, they knew this very well. They used this very well. They knew the science of energy, right? The science and the principle of energy within the body and then energy outside of the body. So when it comes to meditation and the reasons why you meditate, there's really three main reasons. And like I said, it comes back from ancient sciences that, this stuff helps regulate the body, it helps regulate the mind, helps regulate your emotions, and it promotes happiness, promotes well being, you know. So, and the reason why this is because, we have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts, you know, within the 24-hour period that we have. So, the fact that we have so many thoughts, what do we do with these thoughts? Where do these thoughts come from? Well, these thoughts come from consciousness or conscious energy. And we use this energy, when we use our body or we use our mind for our thinking or for our action. So, meditation really helps, promote and regulate these thoughts and helps regulate this energy. And the reason is because out of all these thoughts, out of 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts, you know, some of these things, some of this energy, some of the energy that we use, the behaviors that we have, some of it gives energy to the body, such as breathing. It's a natural physical activity that we do naturally to be alive. And some of our actions, such as thoughts, negative thoughts, negative actions, takes away this energy, this bioenergy within the body, the energy that you need to sustain your life. So when you're born, you're given a certain amount of this essence, which in this science they call spirit. So basically, meditation helps regulate all the functions within the body, the immune system, the blood, and it actually allows for cell regeneration. So the second principle would be that it allows one to become more self-aware, allows one to focus and gain attention to be able to perform better or have multiple levels of different experiences in their life or multiple different levels of self-awareness. And self-awareness goes into the sacred sciences of spirituality and all that. So the more you become aware of yourself, the more you become aware of your I am principle, your unconditioned consciousness, the more you become aware of this bioenergy at its pureness within you, the more that you can understand, why meditation could be useful. So the third principle would be that meditation aids in, like I said, the spiritual principle, but also um, the manifestation, the way we go about creating our lives in the normal sense, using the specific laws of attraction or laws of mind. So meditation allows us to go into this sleep state and remove all these old programmings and, allow us to focus on the new programming, which we can then add into our exercise as we get and progress into deeper states and deeper parts or deeper awareness of ourselves and our minds, of the world. It allows us to better create, the things in our environment to make us become more healthy, to make us, regulate and promote better health. So that's why I'm trying to show you guys and share with you guys the process and the practice and exercise and techniques that can allow you to become aware or focus, because essentially what meditation means is awareness. It means focus. So the science and the techniques and the process and the practices of meditation means the practice of awareness, the practice of focus, which actually arises out of going beyond just the self-ordinary awareness of the physical body, which is our specific problem on this planet right now, is that we believe that everything is only physical and that we are just physical, when actual reality, it's this energy. So what actually happens when you meditate? That's another thing that, I get a lot all the time. So when you meditate, the goal is to raise the energy, release old energy, circulate energy, and cultivate your breath and also your mind. So you're using a facet of visualization and breathing methods in order to access certain nerve endings and certain parts of the brain that connects you to the universe, as we're told. You have 12 body systems, 12 interlinking body systems, which links to your 12 cranial nerves within the brain, which also links to the 12 zodiac signs in the sky, the 12 hours of the day. Anything that deals with 12 in nature, it deals with this sacred science of energy flowing in and out of the body. So when you meditate, like I said, you're adding either basically you're adding neutral energy to the body, for the body to be able to use for your thoughts, your actions, and behavior. You can also store this energy as well to be able to use it for later on. So, but basically this whole science, right, is based on a sacred energy that goes through a process and is secreted from the solar plexus area, or this lower area here, which is called the lower heaven, and it circulates up through the spinal column all the way into the medulla, activating these 12 cranial nerves, and it passes through the hypothalamus and the pituitary glands, and it rests for about 2 to 5 days within the pineal gland, and this rest period is what they call, it's actually in medical terms, it's similar to a death phase, but this rest here is where this substance that is produced in the top of the head, or in the middle of the head, should I say, because your brain has this fluid around it. It's called cerebral spinal fluid, and the cerebral spinal fluid has this energy. It carries this messenger energy up through the spine and throughout the rest of the body through the central nervous system. So as this energy flows up through the body and enters into the head, enters into heaven, right, the upper heavens, this sacred oil is then secreted from what is known as the pineal gland, or the third eye, the third ventricle, the brain, where you have this cerebral spinal fluid, and it's the water then turns to wine. It's the alchemy that is portrayed in history. So what happens during meditation is you become what is known as anointed, or the sacred oil begins to be secreted, and it flows all throughout the body. And so this secretion of the oil has a lot to do with your immune system, your blood, the regeneration of your cells, And also, the main important thing here is the spiritual connection to the universal source. So when you were born, this universal source put this essence within you, and you go out throughout all your life using up this energy. And what meditation does is it allows you to practice and exercise and circulate this energy throughout the body through breathing. Through breathing is one of the main exercises you can do for meditation, which actually can purify the body, which is documented in science as well. Like I said, a lot of the stuff I'm revealing to you guys today comes from this book. So when you meditate, you end up having like this feel-good experience, this bliss experience, and not all the time when you meditate will you have this experience, but as you gradually get better in your processes, in your practice, and your daily focus of your awareness on your meditation and your practice, your body goes through this inner alchemy, and you enter this bliss phase, or what is termed as spiritual liberation in many spiritual sciences. So what happens is it's the unification and the concentration of the substance within the brain, which unifies the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, and which is actually what happens is this cerebral spinal fluid activates all these, like I said, the 12 cranial nerves that exist above, right? That exist above the 12 cranial nerves, and one becomes full of light or enlightened. So what happens when you meditate is one is able to see God, have extrasensory perception, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathy, the interconnectedness experience. Many people speak about experiencing being put into an ocean and being one with the waves of the ocean. It's the same concept. To experience a balance within oneself can be expressed in many ways. The awareness of the I am, the awareness of the Christ consciousness, the awareness of the unconditioned consciousness of oneself. So, but it's very interesting because we go throughout the 24 hours of the day thinking, 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts. And it's using up a lot of our energy, and what I like to say is that, some of this energy is giving to our body, some of this energy is giving away from our body. So what we should be doing is we should be meditating in order for us to go through this alchemical process to become one with our I am unconditioned consciousness, and allow ourselves to regenerate, to become happier in life. Don't you want to become happy? Don't you want to become happy? Pretty sure everyone wants to become happy. So the goal here is to raise this energy within the body, go through the inner alchemical phases of this sacred substance, this sacred oil, the 7 chakras, the 7 solar plexus, the 7 days of the week. Every 7 days of the week, this substance flows up through the spine, released through the dantian, released through breathing and exercise or movement, and it's also released through psychological exercise, such as thinking and feeling. Well, as you go out through your 7 days, every day there's 2.5 hours of your day where this substance is secreted in your brain. So meditation daily at a specific time of the day, according to your body, will help you increase your well-being. It'll help you increase your immune system, blood flow, like I said, cell regeneration, which actually goes into living a longer life. And that goes back into this book here. But the focus is that, the reasons why we should meditate and what happens when you meditate. Now, like I said, not all the times that these need to happen. the basic exercise of meditation is to sit with your back up, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Breathe and focus on your breath. That's all. That's it. That's all. And then what happens is, as you're focusing on your breath, as some of my teachers like to say, you'll have a chatter mind, or the monkey mind. The monkey mind starts going off, and then you just give it a task. You say, hey, focus on the breath. And you say, okay, I focus on the breath. And then you get drawn off over here and something, hey, did you do this? Hey, Tim, and then it's like, okay, wait, focus on the breath. That is the true process and practice of meditation, and the true sacred science of this oil, and the regeneration of this oil, the regeneration of the body, and the sacred science of spirituality. One thing I did want to mention is that your body produces this much amount of cerebral spinal fluid daily. So imagine what this is doing. The cerebral spinal fluid is like energy. Energy is inside of like a fluid, right? And this fluid carries this energy, or messengers, right? And what happens is it goes up through your whole body and it gets secreted throughout the body. If you do not circulate and change this regular fluid energy into spiritual oil, or sacred oil that's sacred because it's secreted by the sacral nerves in the bottom of the what is known as your spinal column. It's at the base of your spinal column where this molecule is secreted and goes up the spine. And as I was saying, you have energy within this water, this fluid, and as it reaches up to the top of the spine, without cultivating and turning it into from water into wine, you will not be able to enjoy the gifts of what God gave you to come to this world to give, what God gave anyone to come to this world and give. So meditation allows you to cultivate the awareness and the understanding of yourself, and the awareness and understanding of the I am principle within you. So next we're going to get into the step-by-step process of simple meditation exercises, two of the basic ones I just mentioned, and the third one here. So yeah. Tai Chi Chuan in Meditation by Dao Liu. Page 84. Progress and improvement in meditation practice. Progress in this practice comes very slowly and requires faithfulness and perseverance. It is essentially a process of energy purification, in which the qing is transformed into qi, which can be circulated throughout the 8 psychic centers when it is combined with the breath. The circulation of the qi purifies it, ultimately transforming it into shen, or spirit. At the highest level, shen becomes shu, or emptiness. But in order to notice the results of the refinement process, one must circulate the qi throughout the cycle of the channels many times. Thus, I emphasize that it is necessary to take the practice of meditation an integral part of one's daily life. This is not only a matter of finding time to practice each day. Meditation endeavors attitude that affects one's lifestyle in a variety of ways. Like everyone else, the meditator relies on food for nourishment as well as energy. Since meditation process is one of energy refinement, it cannot be carried on successfully if the meditator runs out of energy because of insufficient nourishment. Hunger is painful and it interferes with the concentration of the mind during meditation. On the other hand, if the stomach is stuffed and there is difficulty of digestion, the flow of energy in the abdominal region is greatly hindered. Thus, the dedication or the dedicated student of meditation will develop the habit of eating food that is nutritional and easy to digest, such as brown rice and vegetables. To be avoided are sweets, spicy foods, alcohol, and rich foods of any sort. It is also wise to eat in moderation. In other aspects of life as well, devotion and to the practice of meditation leads to moderation, especially with respect to frivolous expenditures of energy. After daily practice has been well established, the meditator will gradually begin to notice improvement and be perceived in definite stages. At first, one cannot feel the circulation of qi spontaneously and must rely instead on the conscious imagination to think through the cycle in coordination with the breathing. After this practice is repeated for a long time, however, a flow of warmth up the back and down the front of the body can be felt independently of conscious thought. This is the second stage of development. At a more advanced stage, a much more powerful feeling is experienced. This abdomen becomes very hot, and one suddenly feels a surge of vital energy go back into the base of the spine, then up to the tumor to the top of the head. As it comes over the top of the head and enters into the genma, a flow of energy, very clean, sweet tasting saliva is felt in the mouth. This is distilled from the qi, which then flows down the genma in the form of water. This flow of saliva is often called divine nectar in Taoist writings on meditation. Other phenomena that may be perceived at a more advanced stage include a vibration in the belly, a shaking in the whole body, and involuntary motion in the limbs. These side effects are not essential to meditation process, however. You may or may not perceive them depending on your age and physical constitution. Taoist literature and art uses several different images to describe metaphorically the process of meditation and its results. The three stages of progress mentioned here are described in a particular fanciful way in a meditation treatise entitled Xin Ming Kui Qi, dating from the Ming Dynasty. There, the experience of the meditator is represented by a cart that is pulled by different animals at different stages of its journey. In the first stage, during which conscious thought is required, the cart is pulled by a sheep. In the second stage, during which a flow of warmth is perceived, it is pulled by a reindeer. In the third stage, it is pulled by a cow. The cow, which also has symbolic importance for the Buddhist tradition, plays a role in other Taoist images as well. The result of the purification of the qi is often characterized as a growing plant. Tracing its stages of growth, it begins as a yellow sprout, develops through a stem and leaf stage, and matures into a golden flower, which finally produces seeds. This analogy can be found in a book that has found some popularity in the West, The Secret of the Golden Flower, translated by Richard Wellham. At the Taoist temple Po Yen Quan, the White Cloud Temple on Beijing's West Mountain. The picture outlines the seated body is pictured as a field of crops. In the field, a cow is pulling a plow. This represents the breath, which prepares and helps the purification of the qi, just as plowing a field prepares and helps in the growth of plants. The picture also shows water wheels at the bottom of the abdominal cavity. These are used in the irrigation of the plants and symbolize the use of the concentration to send the vital energy down through the Ka'an region, or the seats of water, to the base of the spine where it enters the tumor. These images are not only ones present in the picture, its imaginary is quite complex. It also includes a number of poems to explain and further develop the significance of the image. Although I cannot fully describe these in details here, let me develop the agricultural analogy a bit further and point out how it fits in with the idea that the cyclical pattern of the year is reflected in the circulation of the chi. In Taoist writings, the 12 psychic centers are often represented by constellations of the zodiac. These zodiacal signs also stand for the 12 months of the year. Therefore, the repeated circulation of the chi through its purification cycle reflects the recurring cycle of the seasons. Because the cycle of the seasons, plants develop from sprout to flower to seed, themselves in a cyclic pattern that is coordinated with the seasons. If they are properly and faithfully tended, the crops will improve each year. This improvement is generally gradual, its rate depending on such factors as weather and soil conditions. But another determinant is the skill of those who care for the plants. The result of chi purification cycle will gradually improve. The actual rate of improvement cannot be generally predicted, however, and depends on such factors as age and the physical health of the meditator, as well as his or her wisdom. An even more revealing analogy is used repeatedly in the classic treatise of Taoist meditation. It prepares the processes by which psychic energy is refined to alchemical procedures. Alchemy was highly developed in ancient China. There were many complex procedures, but the practice mainly involved combining elements and then purifying the mixture by heating it repeatedly in various vessels. The analogy compares the body of the meditator to a laboratory in which such a purification process is taking place. The 12 psychic centers located along the psychic channels are like flasks in which the energy is refined. The breath is like wind and fire, as a bellows generates and regulates the intensity of heat applied to the flask. The psychic energy is like the fluid mixture that is gradually purified by the successive heating of each flask. The stages of meditation are like those of the alchemical process. First, the elements are mixed together. The body combines nutritious substance taken from food together with various fluids secreted by the glands and the inner organs. This forms both blood and sexual essence, qing. Next, the heat is applied to the mixture. The warmth of the breath transforms the sexual energy into qi. Then, the mixture goes through a purification cycle by being passed from one heating flask to another. The qi, in other words, circulates through all 12 of the psychic centers as it moves up the tu ma to the crown of the head and down the Genma to return to the abdomen. It shows how the chi is able to pass through them as it circulates up and down the main psychic channels. The alchemical procedure reaches its conclusion when the refined product is taken from the flask and is either stored or used. Thus, in meditation, the product of chi purification cycle, or shen, spirit, is generated eventually. After many cycles, as the chi comes up the tuma to the top of the head, there, this extremely concentrated form of psychic energy can be used in various ways, or else it can continue to flow down the genma to the abdomen. By continuing its circulation, this dynamic energy can be stored up for future use.